Juma stands in his workshop, surrounded by half-finished wooden carvings, his hands carefully shaping the figure of a tree. The sunlight streams through the thatched roof, illuminating his deep expression of thought, unaware that a new love is about to change his life. Amina steps out of a taxi with a bright smile, her braided hair bouncing as she laughs with a friend. Behind her, the bustling marketplace of Nkama comes alive with people, animals, and vibrant fabrics as Juma watches her from a distance, his heart struck with awe. Juma and Amina stand on the edge of a river at sunset, their silhouettes softly illuminated by the orange glow. They exchange glances and a gentle breeze ripples through the water, reflecting the first sparks of their connection in the calm surface. Villagers gather in the market square, whispering and pointing at Juma and Amina, whose gazes are drawn toward each other, oblivious to the gossip swirling around them. The air is filled with tension as tradition and love clash, creating an atmosphere of curiosity and judgment. Inside their modest village home, Baba Juma leans forward, his eyes intense as he speaks to Juma about duty and tradition. Juma, dressed in simple clothes, sits quietly, his eyes cast downward as he contemplates his father's words, caught between love and obligation. Amina and her mother sit in their home, the soft light of dusk filtering through the window. Mama Amina looks sternly at Amina, her expression firm as she lectures her daughter about tradition. Amina gazes into the distance, torn between her love for Juma and the weight of her family's expectations. Under the cover of twilight, Juma and Amina stand hand in hand by the river, their faces lit by the soft glow of the water. The world around them seems to fade as they share a quiet moment of peace, knowing their love is forbidden, but feeling the pull of their connection. Inside the village council's hut, the elders sit in a semicircle, their expressions unreadable as they listen to Baba Juma speak about his son's forbidden love. The air is thick with tension as their decision looms over the room, ancient customs clashing with modern desires. Naima stands in the shadow of her family's home, watching Juma and Amina from afar. Her face is etched with sorrow, but there is a quiet strength in her gaze as she turns away from the couple, knowing that her future will no longer include Juma. Juma and Naima stand in the dappled shade of a large baobab tree. Naima, her eyes brimming with unshed tears, looks away from Juma as he tries to explain his feelings. The air between them is heavy with unspoken emotions as the promise of their union crumbles. Amina sits alone at the riverbank, the golden light of sunset reflecting in her eyes as she looks toward the water. Her hands rest in her lap, her posture slumped with the weight of doubt as she contemplates whether she and Juma can survive the pressure from their families. Inside a small, candlelit hut filled with herbs and charms, Bibi Zaina sits cross-legged, her hands resting on her knees as she speaks to Amina, who listens intently. The elders' words fill the room with wisdom and calm, offering Amina a new perspective on love and tradition. Juma and his uncle stand beneath the sprawling branches of a tree, its leaves casting long shadows over them. The uncle speaks passionately, his hands gesturing toward the horizon as he imparts his wisdom to Juma, who listens closely, his heart filled with newfound determination. In the center of the village square, Juma stands tall, his voice strong as he addresses the council of elders. His words about love and choice echo through the air, while the elders watch him closely, their expressions inscrutable as tradition hangs heavily over the scene. The village elders sit in a half circle beneath the sacred baobab tree, Mzikito standing before them. His voice is low and commanding as he delivers an ultimatum to Juma: face the trial of courage or lose the chance to marry Amina. The crowd behind them watches in tense anticipation. In the village square, Juma stands alone in front of a gathered crowd, his face set with determination. Amina, standing among the villagers, watches him anxiously as the elders announce the start of the trial of courage. The atmosphere is thick with anticipation as the villagers murmur in the background. Juma, standing on a small wooden raft, pushes through the murky waters of the river, his eyes sharp and focused as crocodiles circle nearby. The setting sun casts a golden glow on the scene, the tension palpable as Juma fights to reach the other side, his determination unwavering. Juma stands drenched and exhausted on the opposite shore of the river, his chest heaving as he catches his breath. The villagers cheer in the distance, their figures silhouetted against the setting sun, as Amina smiles from the crowd, relief, and admiration in her eyes. In a moment of selflessness, Juma gently lifts an elderly villager who has fallen, offering his shoulder for support. The elder looks at him with gratitude, while the trial's path stretches far ahead of them. Juma's journey delayed, but his spirit unbroken. By the calm waters of the river, Amina sits beside Bibi Zaina, her brows furrowed in doubt. Bibi Zaina's presence is grounding as she speaks to Nina, her words of faith and courage gently easing Amina's internal turmoil, the water glistening in the fading light of the day. In the heart of the sacred grove, Juma sits alone in the darkness, his expression tense as shadows of ancient spirits swirl around him, whispering temptations and fears. The silver light of the moon filters through the trees, casting an ethereal glow over the scene as Juma faces the trial of spirit. As the first rays of the sun break through the trees, Juma steps out of the sacred grove, his body weary but unbroken. The villagers stand in awe at his resilience, their whispers filled with admiration. Amina waits at the edge of the crowd, her heart swelling with pride as their eyes meet. In the village square, Juma and Amina stand side by side before the council of elders. Their hands clasped together, they wait for the elders' final decision. The sun sets in the background, casting long shadows as Messi Quito steps forward to deliver the verdict, the crowd holding its breath. Under the wide branches of the sacred baobab tree, Juma and Amina exchange vows, their hands entwined as the village celebrates their union. The sky above is streaked with warm hues of pink and orange, and villagers dance in vibrant clothing, their joyous laughter filling the air. Juma and Amina, dressed in simple yet elegant village attire, stand proudly in front of their new home. The river flows gently in the background, the golden light of dusk washing over their smiling faces. The house, modest but filled with love, symbolizes the beginning of their shared journey. In the heart of the village marketplace, Juma and Amina stand surrounded by young villagers who look up to them for guidance. The market buzzes with live women selling fruits, children running between stalls as Juma and Amina share their wisdom, their presence inspiring the next generation. By the river, Juma and Amina sit close together, their hands intertwined as they gaze out at the water, their faces filled with concern. The peaceful scene contrasts with the inner turmoil they feel as they grapple with the increasing divide in their beloved village. In the village square, the villagers stand divided, on one side the elders and those clinging to tradition, and on the other, Amina and Juma leading the youth toward change. The tension is palpable as both groups face each other, the future of Menkama hanging in the balance. Under the shade of a large tree, Amina speaks to a group of young villagers who listen with rapt attention. Her voice is strong and filled with conviction as she urges them to stand up for their future. In the distance, the elders watch with guarded expressions, wary of her influence. Nana, hands lifted in a gesture of peace, stands between the two divided groups in the village square. Her voice rings out clearly, urging them to remember their shared heritage. Behind her, the villagers' faces are a mix of skepticism and hope as they listen to her call for unity. Inside Nzikito's modest home, the elder sits quietly, his brow furrowed with thought as he listens to Amina and Juma speak. The firelight flickers, casting shadows on the walls as Nzikito contemplates the future of the village, torn between tradition and the need for new leadership. In a gathering hall lit by flickering torches, Amina stands confidently before the newly formed village council. Elders and young villagers sit side by side, their faces serious as they listen to her speak about the need for change. The council symbolizes a new chapter in Nenkama's history. At the village altar, a young couple stands side by side, their hands clasped as they exchange vows under the watchful eyes of the villagers. The air is filled with joy as the village celebrates their union, a perfect blend of tradition and choice, symbolizing the harmony Amina and Juma fought for. Juma and Amina sit peacefully on the steps of their home, watching their children play in the grassy yard. Their faces are filled with contentment and pride as their daughter Nia runs past them, her laughter echoing through the air, a reminder of the life they've built together. Naima, dressed in modern city clothes, stands confidently at the entrance of the village, her eyes filled with wisdom and her posture proud. Amina approaches her and they share a knowing smile, their past rivalry long forgotten as they prepare to work together for the good of the village. Under the cool shade of a tree, Mzikito sits in his old wooden chair, speaking quietly to Amina, who kneels beside him. His voice is soft but filled with years of wisdom as he offers her guidance on leadership. Amina listens carefully, her face respectful as she absorbs his words. Amina stands at the edge of the river, now reduced to a narrow trickle, her eyes filled with worry as she surveys the damage caused by the drought. Behind her, the villagers murmur anxiously, their faces shadowed by the uncertainty of their future. The once life-giving river has become a source of fear. In the village square, Amina addresses a group of villagers, holding a map and speaking passionately about the drought. Her face is lit with determination as she proposes new ideas for water conservation. The crowd listens intently, some nodding in agreement, others hesitant as they grapple with the realities of climate change. Amina stands at the village gate, her eyes scanning the horizon as she prepares to embark on a journey to find solutions for the drought. The villagers around her offer words of encouragement, their faces hopeful but weary. The sun rises behind her, symbolizing the beginning of a new quest for knowledge. In a dusty, sun-baked village, Amina stands in the center of a group of farmers, listening intently as they explain their techniques for surviving the drought. The land around them is dry and cracked, but there is a sense of resilience in the air as Amina gathers valuable insights to bring back to Nkama. Amina sits by a small fire, the flames flickering gently as she gazes into the distance, her mind filled with thoughts of her village and family. The night sky is dotted with stars, and the quiet of the evening allows her to reflect on the challenges ahead, her heart heavy with the weight of leadership. Amina stands tall in front of the village council, her voice strong as she shares the solutions she learned from her journey. The council members, both young and old, listen carefully, their faces a mix of skepticism and hope. Amina's presence commands respect as she prepares to lead Nkama into a new era of resilience. Juma stands in the center of a lush, green field, his arms outstretched as rain finally falls from the sky, drenching the parched earth. Behind him, villagers laugh and dance, celebrating the return of the rains. A rainbow forms in the distance, symbolizing hope and renewal. In their cozy home, Juma presents Amina with a carved wooden sculpture of their family standing beneath a baobab tree. Amina's eyes fill with tears as she touches the intricate details of the sculpture, her heart swelling with love and gratitude. The fire in the hearth crackles softly, casting a warm glow over the scene. Amina stands proudly in front of the village's new school, her face beaming with satisfaction as children rush inside, their bright smiles reflecting the promise of a better future. The building, a blend of traditional and modern design, symbolizes the progress Amina has fought for, blending education and tradition seamlessly. In a spacious, well-lit council room, the village council members sit around a large wooden table, their faces serious as they discuss the future of Nkama. Juma speaks calmly, his voice filled with wisdom as he shares his thoughts, while the council listens intently, reflecting the newfound unity and collaboration in the village. Nia sits between her parents, Amina and Juma, by the riverbank, her face full of excitement as she asks questions about the world beyond Nkama. Amina smiles warmly as she answers her daughter's inquisitive questions while Juma looks on with pride, the peaceful river reflecting their bright future as a family. Nia, dressed in travel clothes, stands at the village bus stop, her eyes shining with excitement and nervousness as she prepares to leave for the city. Amina hugs her tightly, tears in her eyes, while Juma places a reassuring hand on Nia's shoulder. The bus waits in the background, ready to take her on her journey. Amina sits quietly by the riverbank, her hands resting in her lap as she gazes at the gently flowing water. The sun sets behind her, casting a warm, golden light over the scene. Her face is peaceful but contemplative as she reflects on her life, her love for Juma, and the future of Nkama. At the edge of the village, a sleek car stands parked as a land developer in a sharp suit surveys the surrounding fields, his expression cold and calculating. Villagers gather nearby, their faces filled with fear and uncertainty as they whisper among themselves, knowing their land is under threat. Juma and Amina stand defiantly at the front of a gathering of villagers, their faces set with determination as they prepare to fight for their land. Behind them, the villagers hold banners and signs, united in their cause. The land developers see car looms in the background, symbolizing the clash between rural life and modern greed. Inside their dimly lit home, Juma and Amina sit at a wooden table, poring over maps and legal documents. The room is filled with a sense of urgency as they plan their strategy to protect the village from the land developer. Amina's face is focused, while Juma scribbles notes on a piece of parchment. In front of the village gates, the villagers celebrate their hard-fought victory, their faces filled with joy and relief. Juma and Amina stand at the center of the group, their hands clasped together in triumph. The sun shines brightly overhead, casting a golden glow on the scene of unity and resilience. Mia stands confidently before the village council, her face glowing with passion as she presents her plans for sustainable farming and environmental protection. The council members nod thoughtfully, impressed by her knowledge and vision. The room is filled with a sense of progress as the next generation takes the reins. Juma and Amina sit side by side on the grassy riverbank, their hands entwined as they watch the golden sunset over the water. The river flows peacefully before them, its surface shimmering with the last rays of daylight. Their faces are filled with contentment as they reflect on the incredible journey they've taken together.